lot of people want to know if poor oral health is genetic. The answer is yes, but it's a bit more complex than what people think. It's not that you have bad teeth, it's more that you have bad saliva that promotes bad bacteria and allows them to grow and flourish. And there are ways to manage that. So there isn't no hope. There is hope. There are just some things that some of us have to do a little more diligently or a little differently than others. Cavities aren't caused by sugar alone, like a lot of people believe. Cavities are actually caused by acid dissolution or dissolving of enamel. Minerals leave that enamel in a process called demineralization, and ultimately, over time, as that continues, it will lead to a cavity and breakdown of tooth structure. What are some common sources of acid? Well, bacteria digest sugar and produce acid. So, acid does come from bacteria who eat sugar, but it also comes from our diet, most often in drink form, and then also from our bodies, namely stomach acid. So, people with conditions like acid reflux or in pregnancy with GERD and vomiting and then eating disorders, you're going to have acid exposure that is very strong and can be very damaging to enamel. Where saliva comes into play is your saliva is the primary protective factor in this process of demineralization and remineralization. The saliva is what protects our teeth from acid attack from bacteria, from acid from our stomach, and from acids in foods. Some people genetically have more protective saliva than others. Our saliva varies in quantity and quality from person to person. Medicines that we take and health conditions that we have can also impact the quality and quantity of our saliva. This is how someone who brushes and flosses twice a day can still get cavities, and someone who eats candy all the time and never flosses may never get a cavity in their life. Their saliva is probably very different. This is why it's so important with your dentist and your hygienist to review not just brushing habits and flossing habits, but also dietary practices, medical conditions, medications that you take, and then if available, to do a salivary test to check the quality and quantity of your saliva. So good saliva cannot overcome a detrimental diet or poor hygiene practices, nor can it overcome a highly acidic condition such as acid reflux or frequent vomiting. This is where adjusting practices comes into play, and then adding protective factors to help promote remineralization of your teeth. Even if your saliva is not ideal in quantity or quality, there are still things you can do to protect your teeth that we'll talk about in a later module.